Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Ushanka Show, stories about life in the Soviet Union. And today we're going to talk about Майские праздники, May holidays. By the way, if you're interested in the most popular holidays in the Soviet Union, I already made a video on that topic and the link will be below in the comment section. So May holidays consisted of two official holidays, May 1st and May 9, and one unofficial religious holiday, Easter Sunday, which periodically will occur in early May. And Russian Orthodox Easter was always a mystery for me because it was like all over the place. Sometimes it will happen in May, sometimes in April, sometimes it will match with Catholic Easter, sometimes it will be on different dates. So I had to look it up, and our Pascha, Easter Sunday, it's the first Sunday after the full moon, which will occur after March 21st. But of course, during the Soviet days, Pascha was not an official holiday, but because it happened on Sunday, it was automatically a day off. But many Soviet families used May holidays, Майские праздники, not for celebration, but for planting potatoes. An extended weekend, plus maybe a couple of days off, a couple of отгулы, and the family could go to the village to help parents to plant potatoes on their plot, or go to dacha and plant your own potatoes. And just in case if you missed my video about Soviet dachas, link also will be in the comment section below. Some of you may recognize this photo. This is my family during May holidays. I believe it's 1978, helping my mom's parents. There's my grandmother Maria, my mother, my dad, and me. Planting potatoes on May holidays, as I said, probably 1978 when I was about 7. This photo was also taken during the May holidays, but I believe it was 1981. So once again, my grandma Maria, my mom, my grandpa Sergei, and my father, and me in the middle. So these May holidays were definitely cold because everyone dressed warm. So before you could plant potatoes, you had to go to the office of a local collective farm and ask to borrow their horses and a plow, since collective farm workers were not allowed to own horses. So on this photo, my father plows the field. And of course, you need to spread manure before that. So cow manure goes first, then it gets plowed all over the place, and then you're ready to plant potatoes. And here's a picture of my friends helping to plant potatoes with their grandparents. So every collective farm worker were allowed to cultivate about an acre of land. We call it sotki, so 40 sotka, 1/100 of the hectare, so 0.4 hectare. And this is how it goes. One person digs a hole, another person with the basket tosses a potato in the hole, and a second person covers the hole with the dirt, and you just go row after row, an entire acre, planting potatoes by hand. It takes forever. And what takes even longer is digging up potatoes by hand, but it's a different story. Now we just talk about May holidays and planting potatoes. And some of you may wonder why to go for all this trouble planting potatoes, harvesting potatoes, when you can just go to the grocery store and buy some. Well, potatoes were kind of expensive, and also in the state grocery stores, I have a video about it too, they were pretty crappy quality. So the price of potatoes in Soviet Union was 14 kopecks a kilogram. In America, it's $5.50 for 10-pound bag or $1.21 per kilogram. So an average Soviet citizen with the salary of 150 rubles per month could afford about 1,071 kilograms of potatoes a month if he spends all his money on potatoes. That equals, with American prices, to about $1,300 a month, using American prices for potatoes right now. So picture paying American prices for potatoes if you're making only $16,000 a year. So most families in the Soviet Union did just that. Help to plant potatoes in the spring, help to harvest potatoes in the fall, going to the villages or dachas. And in modern Ukraine or Russia, people quit doing it. Potatoes got so cheap and such a good quality, it just makes no sense to waste your time on planting and harvesting. So now May holidays is just people go and do picnics and relax and have fun. And once again, I kind of drifted away from the main topic. So let's go back and talk about May holidays, Майские праздники, May 1st and May 9. So let's start with the May 1st. 1 мая. День международной солидарности трудящихся. The Day of International Solidarity of the Workers. There's an interesting fact, which I didn't know when I grew up in the Soviet Union, that May 1st was designated as the International Workers' Day back in 1889 by the International Federation of Trade Unions and Socialist Groups in order to commemorate the Haymarket Affair or Massacre in Chicago, USA, which occurred in 1886 on May 4th. And I believe that the May 1st was the very first holiday celebrated in Soviet Russia and later since 1922 in the Soviet Union. So this picture is celebrating May 1st in 1917, so that's even before the October Revolution of 1917. And the sign says, «Буржуазия убедится, что тюрьмами, гонениями не убить Ленинской гвардии». So bourgeois will learn that you cannot kill Lenin's guard with jails and persecutions. And here's the picture taken in 1919 where you could see Comrade Lenin during the May 1st demonstration in Moscow. And by the way, I don't know if you remember, when the Soviets took over in Russia, they moved the capital from St. Petersburg, later named into Leningrad, back to Moscow. And this photo is from May 1st, 1927. By that time, Vladimir Lenin is dead and laying in his mausoleum on the background of this picture. And demonstrations turned into parades. So this is the military parade on May 1st, 1928 on the Red Square in Moscow. And to tell the truth, it looks really bizarre to me because I went to a couple demonstrations on the May 1st in the early 1980s, and there was no military parades at that time. So to discover that back in the 20s and 30s, in fact, all the way until 1968, they had military parades on the May 1st, on International Workers' Day. The Soviet Union was showing off its military might. Like in this video, you could see British Mark V tanks, cavalry, soldiers, sailors, and I grew up just having a peaceful demonstration. Like this photo was actually taken in Kyiv, Soviet Ukraine, on May 1st, 1939, so literally 4 months before the beginning of World War II. And there's a T-26 Soviet tanks, which were based, I believe, on British design, rolling through the streets of Kyiv. And May 1st celebration in the Soviet Union always consisted of two parts. So part one will be military parade to show the might of the Red Army. And part two will be workers' demonstration. So parade, then demonstration, when the workers will be just walking through the street carrying red flags, banners, and the portraits of their leaders. And this tradition continued after the death of Stalin. So under Comrade Khrushchev, there was the same thing. We'll see giant Soviet missiles rolling through the Red Square, and then workers marched after that with banners claiming that we want peace in the world. And only after Leonid Brezhnev replaced Nikita Khrushchev, which occurred in 1964, the way the May 1st was celebrated began to change. In 1968, it was the last time we had a military parade on May 1st. Afterwards, we only had workers' demonstrations. There were no more military parades on May 1st. Another big change under Leonid Brezhnev occurred in 1965, so the next year he became the leader of the Soviet Union. May 9, so-called Victory Day, became a day off. Before Leonid Brezhnev, May 9 was celebrated as the Victory Day of the Soviet Union over Nazi Germany, but it was a working day. Leonid Brezhnev made that a day off, which of course everyone welcomed. There was another interesting change going on with May 1st celebration under Leonid Brezhnev rule. We were using less and less slogans about worker solidarity, International Day of Worker Solidarity. That was kind of slowly going away, and of course no more military parades. The new slogan for the May 1st celebration was Mir, Trud, May. Peace, Labor, May. So nothing about solidarity of workers anymore. We're just celebrating peace and labor and May. And towards the mid-80s, it went all the way to just saying May 1st. So just like in America, hardly anyone says Happy Independence Day. They all say Happy 4th. Like this postcard just says Happy May 1st. С праздником 1 мая. There's nothing about worker solidarity. There's nothing even about peace, labor, and May. And flowers is on the front and the red banner is in the back. And here's another fine example. So there's another May 1st postcard. There's nothing, once again, about worker solidarity. Flags are gone too. Just happy Soviet families standing on a balcony of their new apartment watching the fireworks. and it just says May 1st and some spring flowers, probably tulips. And I believe this change from mighty military parades on May 1st to peaceful demonstrations of workers under slogans of peace, labor, and May, and this is what my friends think is called revisionism. So what do they mean when they mention revisionism? When referring to Marxism, which is usually where this term is thrown around, revisionism is deliberate or inadvertent revision of a fundamental principle of Marxism, which is fundamentally at odds with the liberation of proletariat. This may seem dogmatic, but its definition is precisely such that one may disagree with conclusions of former Marxist figureheads without themselves being revisionist. Essentially, revisionism is a departure from Marxism, often disguised as a disagreement with Marxism or prior Marxist conclusions. Okay, so we're pretty much done covering the topic of May 1st. And before we talk about May 9th, the second holiday in May, let me show you a couple of pictures. So this photo was taken during the May 1st demonstration. You could see my dad. He has a cigarette and looking into a camera, and I'm next to him looking down. This picture was taken among the co-workers. So every factory was supposed to send so many people downtown to participate in demonstration. And I guess it was my dad's turn, and I came with him. And this is the picture of my kindergarten group, sometimes around 1978. My mom wrote that the picture was taken on May 1st, 1978, which is probably not true because there was a day off and kindergarten will be closed. So it could be May 2nd, which was Tuesday, or before the May holidays. And I marked myself as a little star. And there's another photo taken on that day on the steps of our kindergarten. And I'm holding flag, says Miru Mir. Peace to the world. And now let's talk about 9 мая, День Победы над фашистской Германией. May 9, Victory Day, victory over the fascist Germany. As I mentioned earlier, May 9, the Victory Day, became a day off, a holiday only under Leonid Brezhnev. Before him, it was just a regular working day. There were no military parades on this date, except in 1965, marking the 20th anniversary of the victory over fascist Germany, and again in 1985, marking 40th anniversary of the victory over Germany. And I need to remind you guys that when you talk to anyone from Russia or any country of the former Soviet Union, you need to be very careful when you talk about the events of World War II, because in our mind, World War II, it's actually the great patriotic war for the most people. So it began on June 22nd, 1941, when Germany attacked Soviet Union, and it ended on May 9, 1945, when Germany surrendered. What happened before and after, it's like we don't talk about it much. This is what they consider the main event, Great Patriotic War of 1941 to 1945. So despite the fact that Red Army together with Wehrmacht occupied Poland in September of 1939, later Red Army attacked Finland. Then Red Army occupied all three Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Then Red Army occupied part of Romania. Soviet Union had nothing to do with the World War II until June 22nd, 1941. And that's why on any Soviet-era postcard, you will see only dates 1941 and 1945. And happy Victory Day, с праздником Победы. Well, that's all I wanted to tell you about our major May holidays. May 1st, International Day of Worker Solidarity, and May 9, the Victory Day. And many people went to those demonstrations. Way more people went to their fields to plant potatoes. Thanks again for watching Ushanka Show. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to like it and share with your friends. We'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.